Sons are right. Platooning a kicker. 888-957-9570. That would be interesting.
Well,
we got Sea-Legs Clay. We got platooning a kicker. What's next?
I'll tell you what's next is I really like the Chase Young acquisition. I mean, I really do. I mean, coincidence, perfect timing. I don't know. Is there something to it? It doesn't matter. He looked really good yesterday. He paid immediate dividends. I thought it was great for them to get off to a great start with him. Clearly, Bosa and him are buds. Like, they are boys, no? Like, they're talking about it on the sideline. They both have their helmets off. I mean, they're in a bromance. I love everything about Chase Young and Nick Bosa right now.
Here's Shanahan on the pass rush.
When I saw there, it seemed like he had a big impact. I know watching him and Nick there on that same play, I'll see when I watch the tape, but just having him out there and allowing our rotation to go, and from what it looked like to me, I thought we rushed collectively the best that I had seen. You know, I'll tell you guys tomorrow after I watched it on the plane, but just watching it live on the sidelines, it seemed collectively our group had their best game yet, and that's the goal.
Jags empty it out here. And Lawrence is going to get sacked for the third time, and it's Chase Young and Nick Bosa together. And the ball is out, and the 49ers have it.
All those Niner fans down in Duval County, they travel well, travel so well.
Did you see the end of the game?
Yeah, it was all red.
I couldn't believe how many Niner fans
were there. It was basically a Niner home game.
That's been the story on the road this year.
Right, yeah, they travel. Now, we'll see what happens in Philadelphia because Eagle fans don't really sell their tickets.
Yeah.
I'm a little disappointed I can't make that one. But Chase Young, the big deal. And we heard from Adam Schefter earlier Sunday morning that the Niners ran on Montez Sweat, J.C. Johnson, and Patrick Surtain, Jalen Johnson and Patrick Surtain from the Denver Broncos. Who is he tonight against the Buffalo Bills? So they were looking to make a move.
Yeah.
And the fact that they had to make a move for another defensive end, it said a lot about where Drake Jackson was.
Well, and so what's interesting is, like, I was thinking about it, like, I like the Chase acquisition, and you kept saying, well, what about Montez Sweat? You'd have to give Montez, $65, $75 million in guarantees. Well, I don't want to do that. And the other thing is, from the Bear perspective, the Bears were giving up a high second rounder. So your second rounder is going to be more in the 30s, which is like the 66th overall. So from Washington's perspective, it's much more valuable to get that Chicago pick.
For me, I just wondered, why did Chase Young go for so cheap? The Niners threw in they had 12 picks entering the NFL draft in 2024. I was like, wow, you get Chase Young with just a third round. What's going on with Chase? Were there not more teams on Chase Young? I think it was reported that Philadelphia and Miami may have been on Chase Young.
There were multiple teams.
Right, multiple teams. But
the same thing could be said for the Christian McCaffrey trade. Like the Christian McCaffrey trade, looking back on it, after his touchdown streak gets snapped, everyone should have been in on CMC.
Oh, sorry. With the Chase Young thing, I think I read over the weekend there were some concerns with like his medicals or something like that. They weren't sure how healthy he was, and that kind of knocked the price down. I think one of you guys shared that story in our thread, and I don't know, maybe that plays a role into why Chase Young, goes cheaper. But I mean, he looked really good yesterday. So
I thought he looked good too.
I thought he looked good. Yeah, no, I thought he looked good.
He's a monster.
Situational pass rush. This pass rush got deeper. Now I want to see Drake Jackson get healthy. I don't want to quit on a young man, but boy, he had every opportunity opposite of Nick Bosa to get the one-on-ones, to beat the one-on-ones. And now Chase Young and Randy Gregory are going to get those opportunities. And now you can play a lot more games. Wait till they start stunning and looping and blitzing and moving them all around like they did yesterday. I think this defensive line and just the synergy, to see Chase Young walk out on the football field with Trent Williams and Debo Samuel and be right there with the Boombox boys, vibing. That's what I love to see. I said, okay, the vibe. And that's where the juice. We talked about the energy on the sideline and all that stuff. Deebo and Trent now playing. We underestimated the energy that they just bring walking out of the tunnel the boombox.
Did you see it yesterday?
Yeah, Chase Young was with them.
Right at the front.
That's what I just said.
Right away. No, but I'm saying like the whole energy of the entire sideline was better.
Yeah, no doubt about that. No doubt about that. Now, how much did it have to do with Steve Wilkes being on the sideline? 888-957-9570.
You don't even believe what you're saying when you say that.
I don't know how much of an impact it had. For me, watching the game, I said, players played better. Bosa played better. Chase Young played well.
Well, I saw a bunch of DBs run toward him on multiple occasions because the camera kept cutting to him, and you could see like they were at least conversing in between plays, and he was giving them immediate feedback. So there's clearly something there. Now, look, if they lose next week, it'll go back to being it meant nothing or whatever. But I don't know. For 1 week, it worked.
Yeah, no, it did. It did. The defense, and you know what? Again, I don't think the defense played that bad the last 3 weeks. Now, they weren't great.
they were pretty bad in the first half against Cincinnati. I mean, they were really bad.
It's a 17-10 game.
Quarterbacks completed like 92% of their passes over a 2-week period.
I get it. They also gave up 6 points in the second half against Minnesota. Despite all that, Minnesota scored 22 points. Not like they lit you up for 40. So, I thought they played okay against Cleveland. They played okay. But you know what? Hey, that's in the rearview mirror. And you heard Fred Warner yesterday in the locker room say it's about one game at a time. We learned our lesson. We looked ahead. We started reading our press clippings. We were filling ourselves after beating Dallas 42-10. Now we're getting back to business. And getting back to business is sacking the quarterback, putting heat on him. You hit him 10 times yesterday, the quarterback, Trevor Lawrence. Wow, 10 times.
Even Kinlaw got in on the action.
Right. Well, he's really a freak, though.
Well, no, he actually, shockingly, him and Givens and that second defensive line unit, which I know it's about the top dogs, but like Randy Gregory made plays. Cleveland Farrell made plays. Like this entire defensive line showed up.
No, they did show up, and that was a welcome sight. And the secondary played a lot better. 888-957-9570 is the phone number as we continue to break down 49er football. You are listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ, FM, and HD1 San Francisco, always live on the free Odyssey app. Download the Odyssey app and favorite 95.7 The Game for the best and most up-to-date sports coverage. Don't forget that you can also watch us every single day at our YouTube and Twitch streams, sponsored by our very good friends at First NorCal Credit Union. Just log on and search 95.7 The Game. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel while you are there. It's a Monster Monday, brought to you by First 5 California. To learn 4 things you can do to overcome toxic stress, go to first5california.com and shout out to the Comcast Business Text Line. It's a big-time win. It's a big-time win for the 49ers. Now the goals are attainable. Now we're back in business, boys and girls.
I'm optimistic, boss.
Ladies and gentlemen.
The guy who's having a monster year that no one's talking about, like he's been really good this year. Like if you just look at the advanced numbers, Jake Brendel has like shockingly been really good. I can't believe I'm saying that.
I don't know how good he's picked because...
Well, the rate, I'm just going off the PFF ratings.
Because, well...
I know.
You pick and choose when you do this, Shasky. That's why one week we can't... Jake Brendel was getting punked by DJ Reader.
In that game.
In Cincinnati. So I don't know how good of a season Jake Brendel's had. If we want to reference PFS, sure. I guess, Pro Bowl for Jake Brendel.
You got to Google it.
I don't know.
Where was he yesterday? Not one shot of Trent Baalke.
Cleveland.
Not one shot.
Cleveland and Cincinnati really pushed that pocket up the middle. So I don't know how good Jake Brendel is. I'm not going to lie to you.
Those are two of the better defensive lines in the league.
So, but these are defensive lines we're going to have to see moving down the stretch here. We're going to have to see Philadelphia sooner rather than later. We're going to have to see Seattle sooner rather than later. So
get two. I can't wait. The two sandwiched in between with Philly. I mean, that's why you got to handle business this week against Tampa. I don't want to get too ahead of ourselves. We're reacting to yesterday, but that's why yesterday's win was so big because you got that 3-game stretch, and I know there's more after that, but that's just like Seattle, Philly, Seattle.
Yep.
I mean, that looms large.
Here's Deebo Samuel about coming back after the bye week. Crisp, fast.
I think so. I think everybody was just fresh coming off the bye week, and, we lost 3, and we just trying to get back on track, and that's what we did. Felt good, like being a month away and just, not getting those wins that we were supposed to get, and just come back here and just see like we went in on all phases, just come out with a big win.
Now the stats won't pop out at you, right? Deebo Samuel, 4 catches, 30 yards on 4 targets, 3 carries, 29 yards, a 23-yard touchdown. It's only 59 total yards, but I thought his impact and him just being on the football field, it makes a huge difference within this offense.
Watch the first 2 plays of the game. I mean, he goes into motion in the backfield, and then boom, let me hit McCaffrey on a short one. He goes into motion again. Boom, here's a 7-yard run by CMC. Like, just everything opens up as he moves.
And so where Deebo is, healthy, running fast, just his presence. And it's like the old Warriors. When Draymond used to be out and it's just Clay and Steph, they would lose. Or if Clay is out, Steph and Draymond, this just weren't the same when all 3 was. Go back to the triplets with Michael Irvin and Troy Aikman and Emmitt Smith. When one of them was out, they just weren't the same, right? And we see that with the 49ers. Although we expected some players to step up, Deebo is so essential to this offense. It makes everything easier for Brandon Ayuk. I'm not saying anything that's earth-shattering here. I'm kind of stating the obvious. But to see Deebo's impact and to see why he's paid the money that he's paid right now and to see why Shanahan loves this guy so much. I don't care if he's a running back. I don't care if he's a wide receiver. He's a playmaker. And having that playmaker back on the field just spaces out the field for everybody. The gravity, not only of Chris McCaffrey, but the gravity of Deebo Samuel is very underrated.
So they were in the huddle, and, Deebo had made a play early in the game, and Moose Johnson, we're trying to find the audio because they won't let us record some of the audio off of the YouTube page. But Moose Johnson gets great information from Brock Purdy, and he says, and I'm paraphrasing, Brock Purdy told me that when he's in the huddle and he just sees 19 in there, he gets completely relaxed. And when 19's not in the game, Deebo Samuel, and he's not in that huddle, things just speed up for him. And he feels like he's not as comfortable as when Deebo's out there. And he was basically echoing all the things that you were talking about for 2 weeks. Like, Purdy is telling you Deebo is the most important guy for me. Now, I know McCaffrey, and it's like pick your poison. They're all great players. But there's something calming to the quarterback about having Deebo Samuel out there.
Yeah, that's no doubt.
Even if he's not targeting him over and over and over and over again. So I thought that was a very powerful statement by Moose Johnson, relaying what Purdy was telling him. It's like, man, that told me a lot right there.
And defenses tell you how they feel about your team by the way they defend you. They tell you how they feel about your team by, hey, let's bracket Deebo Samuel. When he's going in motion, make sure we're alerted and who's on him, 19, find him. Deebo Samuel's a problem. And he's another guy. Again, I need him to get 7 to 10 touches a game because special things happen with the ball in his hands. And special things happen when he's in motion. And it opens it up for Christian McCaffrey. So having 19 back, having Big 71 back, and of course, Darius Williams for the Jacksonville Jaguars, he didn't want that smoke with Trent Williams. Remember he had his back turned on the Deebo Samuel touchdown run? Here's what Trent Williams said about that.
It's kind of weird because, 31 turned around and ran. I ain't never seen that. So, but yeah, I knew he was close because I could just tell the reaction of the guy in front of me, but anytime I feel so comfortable with 2, 3, or 19 out there in the open fields, like I just got to get in the way long enough for them to make a decision. And once 19 gets ahead of steam, it's really tough to bring him down.
It really is. And Trent Williams, kudos to him. He could have sat this game out. We all would have understood it. The ankle's not right. And let Trent tell it. It was a true game-time decision.
Yeah, I wasn't. Like I said, it was truly questionable. And I know a lot of people say that. And, over the years in my career, every time I've been questionable, I pretty much end up playing. So I know it's what you guys expected. I wanted to play, but like I said, Thursday and Friday went okay. It didn't go as well as I expected. So it was truly questionable. I had, a long flight, but a couple of days. Friday, got some rehab. Saturday, got some good rehab. And, today I decided to give it a go.
It felt like the pull game with Trent out there.
Right.
All the sweeps, the tosses, the pulls, screens, everything comes back into play when you have him out there. And him moving out in space as well as he did with the ankle injury was really surprising.
Yeah, very encouraging, too. He looked good moving out there. Now he gets a week off, rehab that ankle, probably won't practice much this week. He'll be limited. But that's a good thing to see big Trent Williams back out there with Deebo Samuel. And it kind of tells you how much this game meant to this team. They played desperate. They were desperate to snap this 3-game losing streak.
They were.
That was un-Niner-like. Now, they had the 4-game losing streak 2 years ago. Of course, last year they had some hairy moments. They were 2-4, and we're just talking about Operation 4-4 going into the bye week, and they got that done. Then they didn't lose a game. They took off. And we've seen this before under Kyle Shanahan, these second-half surges from this football team. Are we on the precipice of another second-half surge for the 49ers? Is that on the horizon here for the Niners as we move deeper into November, where the weather gets a little colder, the hitting gets a little harder, it's tougher to get yards? Playoff football starts, I believe, in November because now teams are starting to jockey for positioning, right? NFC, AFC, got a lot of teams here. Seattle's on their necks. I thought it was a good win, a desperate win by the 49ers, and they reestablished who they were.
Yeah, a big, physical, strong team that's going to dominate both sides of the line.
Exactly.
And I think having Trent and obviously Deebo back offensively helped you establish the run, and it felt like you were just much more powerful in that 5-yard, behind or ahead of the line of scrimmage. And then defensively, when you get to the quarterback as fast as they did and as many times as they did, look at how many turnover-worthy plays there were. You even saw, if you want to get real, optimistic, you even saw Charvarius Ward. I think it was the second best play he's made on a ball in the air this year. He did one in the Dallas game near the sideline. The one in the end zone was a beautiful breakup by him. He had multiple breakups in this game, but that was a dime by Trevor Lawrence. And I thought Charvarius not only locates the ball, makes a play on it at the last second. That was very encouraging.
No doubt. So it was a lot of encouraging signs. The biggest two for me, the biggest signs for me that was encouraging. Brock Purdy won. His shook off the turnover buck.
Great.
5 turnovers in 5 quarters. He threw the first touchdown pass at Ayuk was an interceptable ball. There's a couple plays here and there you can nitpick, but I thought Brock was back. And that was very good for my soul. Okay, the quarterback is back. He's throwing dimes. He's controlling the offense. He's playing with the lead. Brock was fine. And the other concern that I had going into the game, would this defensive line finally show up? The highest paid defensive line in football. What's it going to do coming off a bye week? Well, you know what they did? They sacked Trevor Lawrence 5 times and hit him 10 other times. They played great. So Brock in the D-line, I'm good.